And welcome to Grandad Reviews. In this video, I want to have a look how we can monitor the video we're filming on Fuji cameras. Now, the obvious answer to that is with EVF or the LCD screen. Now, for stills, I just use the EVF all the time. I keep, on the XS10, I keep that LCD shut and I just use the viewfinder. But for video, sometimes that's not convenient. Yes, it's great to have and use the EVF for video because you've got a third point of contact and you can get a steadier shot. But sometimes if you want to film, say, down in this position or you're higher up or wherever, the LCD comes into play. Now on the XT3, and I've got this one slightly rigged up here, obviously the LCD flips down like so, so you can easily use it in this position and up, so you can use it from a higher up position. And then when the XT4 and the XS10 came out, we got the fully articulating monitor. So now we can view it at any angle we want, really. And if we're doing selfies, well, perfect. Works a treat. And it works great. But there's some disadvantages with the LCD. The size of it, for a start, quite small, so if you've got it way down and you're trying to pull manual focus, it's a little bit difficult to do. Plus, there's not many exposure tools for the Fuji. You've got zebras, you've got the histogram, and you've obviously got the exposure meter, but you haven't got things like waveforms or false colours or anything like that. So what are your choices? Now we'll have a look at the XT3 and see what choices we've got. Now obviously, as I say, we've got the LCD that we can use. But if you want something a bit bigger and easier to see, then we can use a 5-inch monitor like this Shinobi. So we mount it on the camera, like so. We connect it with a HDMI cable. And to power most of these monitors, you can use the Sony MPF batteries. Now we've got a bigger screen. So we've got this bigger screen now, which we can use for focusing, see a clearer picture of it. We've got other exposure tools, so we've got a waveform, so we can change the exposure and see the waveform change like so. We've got a better way of seeing the actual exposure. So we've got waveforms, we've got parade, so we can see the colours. We've got a RGB waveform, so we can see it there. And we've got other tools, so we can have the whole thing there if we want. We've also got peaking, so we can see what's in focus. We've got zebras, and we've got false colour as well. On the Shinobi, we've got a blue, so you can see where the noise is. I can punch in, have a better focus. I'll put a guide for different ratios. Safe guides. and I've got de-squeeze as well on there. So it is an advantage. It's easier to use, especially in a lower held position, and it's a bigger screen so you can see it. Now let's say you're in a studio situation or somewhere where you want a bigger view. We could go up, so we could go something like this 7-inch monitor. So now we've got a 7-inch monitor that we can position however we like, just like the 5-inch, but we've got a bigger screen to see. Again, we have some settings. This Feelworld is an older one, it's not a touch screen, but we've got different things we can change, different options. We can change the aspect ratio. We've also got zebras, got a histogram, got false colours again, so we can use it for that, and I got peaking, so we can see what's in focus. You can also set some of these custom buttons up to do zoom, just the same. But what is a disadvantage with these? Are they all the be all and end all? It's exactly one. The disadvantage, especially on some of these cheaper ones like the Feelworld, is if it's really bright outside, they're very difficult to see. Just like the little screen on your camera, if you're out in the bright, it's hard to see. And I don't know if some of you are like me, you like the EVF experience. But if you look online for external EVFs, you'll see that they're extremely expensive. But there is a cheaper one. And I got hold of this. This is the Portkeys Leye 2 HDMI, because it's only HDMI from the Fuji cameras, you haven't got SDI. But the version 2, you can actually put a battery in it, and they take the Canon battery. Yeah, being as it's a cheaper EVF, there are some compromises, shall we say. And the biggest one is the actual diopter on here. It's not the best viewing angle. You move away side to side, the image does distort a bit, but the actual display inside is excellent. Again, we just connect with the HDMI, and now, just like your monitor, I can use it, and I've got 3 points of contact. And when I've got this rigged out with a V-mount on the back, I've actually got 4 points, because I can hold it onto my chest and use it like that. But even if I've only got 3, I can push it into the eye, and I've got a good steady rig. Now, you've also got all the exposure tools. We've got Waveform, we've got Histogram, we've got false colour, got zebras, and we've got peaking for focusing. I can zoom in, and also, like the Shinobi, you can load LUTs in. So if you're filming in F-Log, you can put a LUT in here to see what it's going to look like post-production. So give you a better view than just a flat image. Some of the other cheaper monitors, you can put LUTs in as well. So it's like having a monitor, but as a viewfinder. And for me personally, which I prefer EVFs, it's excellent. And I think for the price, you can't really do much better. I say there is a compromise. The screen is the highest resolution on the planet. I'll put the specs in the description. I might put them up on the display as well. I won't go over all the features or the menus and that, because there's other YouTubers have done full reviews on all the specs, showing what the display looks like. It's very difficult to film, and I'll put a link to a couple of those that I believe are very good. But you've got custom buttons on the top, so you can set different ones. I've got number one as my LUT, number 2 is false colours, number 3 is my waveforms, and number 4 is peaking. So I can quickly go through them. You don't have to run it off a battery. You can run it off a USB. You can run it off a D-tap with a cable, or any 12, I think it's 12 to 24 volt input there. So you can have it off anything that produces that. And I think, yeah, for the cost of it, and if you want an EVF for your Fuji or any camera really, it's an excellent option. Not saying any of these other options are not saying any of these aren't. I use the Shinobi a lot. It's great. Nice big screen. A lot of assists that you can use. I use the 7-inch one if I'm in the studio and I want a good view, especially if the camera's a distance away from me. But if you want a similar experience to what you're getting on the camera's EVF, though be it not to the same resolution, then an external EVF is a good idea, especially if it's bright. You can put the HDMI information on, so you can see in here what you would normally see through the viewfinder. So you can change your exposure and things like that. You can see your focusing point if you're using autofocus. But if you want a better image, then you can turn the HDMI info off. You'll get a slightly better resolution in here. You can put a 4K 30 input into this. A better option, which I find on here, is just to send the 1080 input to it. Then no matter what resolution 4K you change on here, so 60 or DCI, it won't turn this off. So if you just send the 1080 out, it works fine. Which is the same on this old Feelworld. I always send a 1080 out to that. It just solves a few problems. But all these options work. The EVF on the camera works excellently. Screen is fine. As I say, it can be a bit hard to see sometimes, but then you can go up to different size monitors, external monitors, or EVF. I hope that gives you some ideas on what you can use for monitoring your footage. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, see you later.